Hello! Today we're going to learn about how to solve absolute value equations. So, what is an absolute value? Well, a brief overview. Anything plus or minus x in the absolute value would equal to x. So the absolute value of negative 2 would equal to 2. The absolute value of 2 would equal to 2. So let's try some equations with absolute values in them. Let's do absolute value of x plus 1 minus 2 equals to 5. Let's do that one. So, one thing that's going to be weird is that there's an absolute value here. And absolute values, if it's the inside's positive or negative, we could have the same answer. So let's account for both of those and have one that's positive, that's multiplied by the positive sign, like this, and one that's multiplied by the negative sign, like this. So essentially, we got one equation that's multiplied by a positive, whatever's in the absolute value, and one that has whatever in the absolute value multiplied by a negative sign. So now, let's solve the equation. First step of solving an equation is simplifying everything, as in distributing everything. So x plus 1 minus 2 equals to 5. And then the other one, minus x plus 1 minus 2 equals to 5. Now our next step, simplify like terms. 1 minus 2 is negative 1, and 1 minus 2 is also negative 1. That equals 5. So now our final step is to isolate for x. X equals to 6, and the other one, because we added 1 to both sides. And this one, we have 1 to both sides, and minus x equals to 6. So now, we don't forget we have to multiply by the negative 1. Both sides, and we get x equals to negative 6. So now, we can say that x is 6 and x is minus 6 are our answers, right? No, we can't. Because when we do these manipulations, it gets slightly inaccurate, which can be a big problem when we're solving it. So, let's test if these two answers are correct by substitution, as in substituting every instance of x in the first equation with the value of x that we got. Let's do that with the first one. 6 plus 1 minus 2 equals to 5. We replace the x with the 6. Now we need the absolute value of 7 minus 2 equals to 5. The absolute value of 7 is 7 minus 2 equals to 5. 7 minus 2 is 5. That's a true statement. So that means this is correct. Now let's try x is minus 6. I've got minus 6 in place of x, plus 1 minus 2 equals to 5. And then we get absolute value of minus 5 minus 2 equals to 5. 5 minus 2 equals to 5, meaning that 3 equals to 4. Wait a minute. 3 doesn't equal 5. When does it equal 5? Never. So that means we got an extraneous solution. What that means is that this answer is incorrect. Because of that little inaccuracy I told you about, this one ends up being inaccurate. So that means this one is incorrect. And that means our only solution is x equals to 6. Whenever we get contradictions like this when we substitute, it's called an extraneous solution, because it's actually not there. So, let's try another problem. Here's the board. One little bit of advice I would give is to keep your absolute value sign a little bit farther away from everything inside of it, just to not get confused. So let's have another equation. 2 times absolute value x plus 2 equals to 6. So, how should we solve this? We could go about multiplying whatever's in here by a negative and a positive, but let's not do that. One thing we can do is we can isolate the absolute value. Okay, so we can subtract 2 to both sides. Okay, 2 times the absolute value of 2 equals 4. Then we can divide both sides by 2 and get the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 2. So now let's solve the equation. So, minus x minus 2 equals to 2, and x plus 2 equals to 2. We isolate for x, add 2 to both sides, subtract 2 to both sides, then I get this, that's 4, and this equals to 0, multiply both sides by -1, we get x is minus 4 and x is 0. Now let's check for extraneous values. Let's go up to the top equation, or even the bottom one. This one would work also, but let's do this one just for the sake of doing it. Thus, we get 2 times minus 4 plus 2 equals to 6. 2 times the absolute value of -2 is 4, plus 2 equals 6. This is true. Now x equals 0. 2 times the absolute value of 0 plus 2 equals to 6. Thus, now we do the math. 2 times absolute value, 2 plus 2, 6. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Oh, both of these are good. So that means our final answer is x equals to -4, 0. You can't see that, but it's still there. So, what did we learn? We learned that whenever you have an absolute value, you first start by isolating whatever is in the absolute value, as in remove everything that isn't the absolute value, then multiplying whatever's in it by a positive and a negative, solving it. Now I got 2 solutions. Now to check for extraneous values, which are contradicting the actual equation, we substitute whatever we got for x back into the equation. And if we get a contradiction, like 1 equals 2, then we call it an extraneous solution and don't put it in our final solution. Then we got our answer. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.